Kenyon is going to sit vacant because it's going to be prepared for what happens in step 2 the following school year.
And in addition to the first year, we'll also be moving our utilities department out of its current building and moving it into the front end of Career Center North. So the classes that are still at Career Center North, the construction, the culinary, those would remain where they're at, but the front part of that building would become our utilities department. And in lieu of that, we would be demolishing the utilities building that's located on Pine Street. Moving into year 2, this is where we see a restructuring at our middle school level. So you'll see that for our middle schools, we will be moving our 7th and 8th grade students into West, making West the 7th and 8th grade building for the Taylor School District. Kenyon Elementary would become the new 6th grade for the Taylor School District. In all of those changes, we would rename the campus Taylor Middle School, so you would have one name under both buildings. And we also acknowledge that when we do that campus style, we will also be making alterations to ensure that when our kids are commuting from building to building for their elective classes, that we will provide that secure, safe walkway. So we know, as we are going to talk about later on, the alterations that we're proposing to all of our district's properties that you'll see in the slides ahead.
So when you look at this slide here on the utilization and the green chart, and you look at the bottom, that is where it's talking about, as the plan was to move both middle schools in the current Taylor High School. That shows you what the utilization rate would have been if we went forward with that plan. So currently we have a utilization rate in our middle schools of 69% and 72%, but when we put them into that high school facility, it's going to drop that utilization of 42%. And that would be something, as we said, very concerning considering the state recommends 80-90% utilization. And we would be dropping that far by proceeding with that as the plan.
So for the second part of the year 2 plan, we'll also see additional restructurings at the elementary level. The proposed plan is that Randall Elementary would be relocated to Hoover Middle School, and that would be renamed Randall Elementary. That building will also have alterations done to it to make sure that we accommodate to make it an elementary. The second part would be closing of Taylor Parks Elementary, and we would be demolishing the Taylor Parks Elementary building, and those kids would be split between the new Randall Elementary as well as Blair Moody Elementary School. With the old Randall building, we will also be demolishing that building as well. As you can see, the reason why these buildings are being consolidated the way they are is because what we're showing you on the green tape. So similar to the last table, the blue one, the first row is the building names. So we'll be going from 8 elementaries to 6 elementaries with 1 middle school instead of 2 middle schools. In the second row, you'll see that the expected building capacities. Now you can look and see that there is a difference in the capacities. That is because after our alterations that we're proposing to those buildings, the capacities of those buildings will increase. Specifically, we want to highlight one thing too. When we're looking at capacities, we are taking into account our district will strive to meet a 28 kid classroom size. We are not looking, when we consolidate, to make classrooms 30, 35, or 40 kids. We know that's not functional for education. We know that that is not a productive learning environment. So our plan and proposal accounts for class sizes to be at 28 kids per room. So you can see that with the increase of the building's capacities, our expected enrollment for the 2024-25 school year is shown right in the third row of the green. So you'll see at Myers Elementary, our enrollment is expected to be at 358 students, Holland, 362 students, McDowell, 415 students, Blair Moody, 494 students, Kenyon Elementary at 416 students, and then the new Randall Elementary at 657. Our Taylor Middle School campus will have a total expected student enrollment of 1,050 kids. But what, again, the critical thing we want to look at in this table is on that last column, the expected building utilizations. You can see that with this consolidation plan, every single building from the elementary to the middle school level hits the state threshold of that 80 to 90%. So you'll see that Myers is at 84% capacity, Holland is at a 91% utilization, McDowell is at an 87% utilization, Blair Moody is at a 92%, New Kenyon is at a 92%, New Randall is at a 90%, and Taylor Middle School would be at an 84% utilization. And just if you look at the very bottom of the page, we did kind of a breakdown of an overall high-level look of the district. So you'll see in the red/pink table, the elementary level current enrollment and utilization. Our buildings, if you take the capacities of all 8 elementaries right now, our elementaries are sitting at a 70% utilization. After this consolidation plan, our elementary buildings will be sitting at a 90% utilization rate, which again meets that state threshold to financially sustain a school in operating. At the middle school level, you'll see that our current utilization is at a 71% when you take both Hoover and West and add their capacities. And then what you'll see is under the new consolidation plan, it'll put our middle school utilization at 84%, which again meets that state threshold to financially sustain schools in our district.
So these slides here, what they do is they're kind of outlining what we had just said. Essentially, these next few are the ones, the moves that would be taking place at the end of this school year. So the first one is that relocation of Kenyon to the Johnson Early Childhood Center. And we would retain the name Kenyon Elementary, and it would just be, we would be moving it over to a new location at that point. The next is that we would be closing Eureka Heights, as we said. We would be moving the students to McDowell and to Holland, and then we would turn what is existing as Eureka Heights into the Eureka Heights Early Childhood Center. And then the last for the end of this year would be that the utility department would move out of its location on Pine Street in the former Pine Elementary School, and they would come to Career Center North at that point.
So in year 2, this is just re-highlighting the Hoover and West Middle School combination into the Taylor Middle School campus. So you'll see that, again, West Middle School will house our 7th, 8th grade students. Kenyon would house our 6th grade students. They would be renamed Taylor Middle School, and it would be one campus consisting of 2 buildings. Again, later on in this presentation, we'll walk through those alterations to show you how we're going to make that functional on that property. And then this next one is the Randall Elementary moving to Hoover Middle School. So this will happen again at the end of year 2. So those students wouldn't start until the fall of 2025 in that building. The current Randall Elementary School would be closed and demolished as those students would be transferred over to the new Randall Elementary School. Again, Hoover would be renamed Randall Elementary School as well. For Taylor Parks, we would be closing the Taylor Parks building, and those students would be split between the new Randall Elementary School and the Blair Moody Elementary School. And then with the building, the Taylor Parks Elementary School building, that building would be demolished. So we know that with all of these alterations at our elementary level, we need to clean our district's boundaries up. We know that currently the way that our district has our elementary boundaries is not sustainable. We have parts of elementaries that are islands, so they go from one side of the city all the way to the other. With this consolidation plan, what we're proposing is cleaning up those boundaries and making it functional and efficient for those buildings. We know that this comes with a lot of change. We know that it comes with building changes. It comes with, you may be going to school with your friends at one place and then going to a whole new school. We understand that. But we also understand this is all in the effort to make our district financially sustainable because we are facing that looming deficit. As you can see in this map, the gold or the yellow is the proposed new Holland Elementary boundaries. The light purple is the new Randall Elementary boundaries. The pink is the new Blair Moody Elementary boundaries. The darkish purple is the new Kenyon Elementary boundaries. The green is the McDowell Elementary boundaries. And then Myers is the blue elementary boundaries.